I'm Kiwi,
And I'm Jarad.
and we are the two gentlemen coming to you in living color. We're actually filming this one. I finally got myself a decent webcam, and we'll see how it goes. We might put this up on YouTube, and we'll let you know. Jarad, how are you?
Very, I feel bad for all the people now got to see our faces. So.
Yeah, same. I just got up.
Yeah, I know. Did you? Yeah, yeah. I'm good, mate. I'm good. Yeah, just been a while since we've recorded, so it's nice to be back. But we've been a little bit busy with life and all those things that happen. And yeah, it's been a good positive, I guess, break for me. What about yourself?
Yeah, and it's been a great break for me too. And the reason why we haven't recorded for a long time is I was whisked away on an impromptu holiday. We recorded our first episode of the year, and then our scheduled holiday got brought forward a week due to bookings.
Mm,
And so I just had to leave and we didn't get to record anymore. Now I'm back
yeah.
and I'm not even here, Jarad. I have the biggest holiday hangover. I had no idea what we're up
Mm,
to. We had a little pre-production meeting this morning and I was like, Jarad, I'm not here. So
yeah.
we decided that we may as well talk about holiday hangovers.
Good subject. Because it's such a thing. I know even if you don't go anywhere, just getting back into regular life, I guess, is
Mm,
tough. And getting rid of the brain fog, and then getting your body physically able to get up in the mornings and go through the routine and whatever the routine is you have to do. But yeah, it's real tough, and I know everybody I know struggles with it. So I don't know if there's any tips on how to do it, whether it's like a jump in a cold shower sort of thing and just rip the band-aid off and off you go, or ease into it. Because I know how easy is it to start staying up late at night if you have to, you don't usually do that. And then but it's just so hard to break that habit, and it's usually the first week or two of work where you're just dog tired.
hmm
um, and you almost need a holiday to recover from your trip away.
That's right. I agree with that. But then you're just adding more and more sluggishness to your life, aren't you?
Yeah, and that's why I think it's, for me personally, it's rip the band-aid off sort of thing. And I suppose it's not a new concept, but yeah, it's rip the band-aid off, get going. If you get tired, go to sleep. I don't know, like just catch up. And yeah, I think there's a bit of uh, depression's probably a strong word, but there's a bit of that in there because you've had a good time of either doing nothing or doing something, whatever you did. Um, and then reality sort of kicks back in of like, oh, I've got another 42 or 48 weeks of this to go or something like that. So uh, there has to be a bit of that. I call it the Sunday blues, in that afternoon when you start to think, oh, I've got to go to work tomorrow. It's
Yeah.
that, but magnified. So yeah, it's a tough one.
The moment you said 48 weeks, my heart just sank. I was like, oh, that's it for the
I said,
year. We're done.
it's only February. Yeah, hopefully we can all break up our things. And I actually was thinking about it, like where we are in New South Wales, the public holidays are great, and they help you recharge the batteries. You have an extra little bit of a long weekend here and there, and but they're all at the start of the year. Like there's a really big gap before it starts to kick in later in the year. So enjoy your. I suppose this is not a bad time where you can sort of look ahead and go, okay, Easter's coming up, or you've got these other public holidays coming up, Anzac Day and things like that, where you can kind of recharge the batteries. But yeah, after that, it's a little bit sort of scarce until I think there's a Queen's birthday one in there, and then that's it,
Yeah,
and then
that's
it's
it.
sort of October, and then think about Christmas again. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I suppose holidaying here with the way that our structure is set up, it's you can kind of look forward to those days, and and hopefully get you through this hangover period, holiday hangover period.
A 48-week hangover. I feel like we're just crawling to the finish line. And once we're through the finish line, we bolt for the next couple of weeks or whatever it is when we're on holidays. And then it's just back to crawling.
Oh, yeah. That sounds like a normal hangover for me these days, a 48-week hangover. Like as you get older, you have 2 beers and you're in trouble for a week. You know? But yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, getting back to the swing of things, it's tough. It's tough. It's tough in every aspect. You know, you look at it with work, and then a lot of people take that time off their fitness regime as well. So if you're away, you don't necessarily, you might do a few walks on the beaches, or you know, you might do one run or something. But realistically, if you've got a decent fitness regime, that suffers as well, and you've got to get back into that as well as work, as well as a routine with, you know, if you've got kids going to school. It's it's all hits you like a ton of bricks.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I feel like I'm in a 22-year off season. It's been, you know, I haven't played competitive sport for that long, but I think it's time to end the off season, Jared.
Oh, that preseason is going to be a real struggle.
I know. But look, I should probably talk about the holiday. So I've been gone for a while, guys. We haven't actually had a big episode for a while. We had our first episode of the year and then it was just cut off. So I went away with my family for our annual camping holiday. We had a fantastic time. I've had a fantastic summer, actually. I mean, it's been stressful in other ways, but at least I've been with my family. And we went up north, and on the first day, we had the worst weather possible. And as soon as we got there to set up our tent, the rain stopped. It was the best luck you could get. And it was about 7 o'clock in the evening that we got there. So we left Sydney pretty late. Got there, you know, just as the sun was kind of setting. And we're in this mad rush to set up this huge tent that we've got. It's embarrassingly large, this tent, for a family of 4. It's just huge. It's one of those things we bought because it was the right price, but it's just too big. But you know, and the thing is, we only set it up once a year. So even though we've set it up that many times, it's that many times between setups that you forget how to do it. But you know, we worked really, really hard. The boys were so helpful, and we got the tent up, got all the bags in while it was raining. So the rain had stopped while the tent was getting put up, but once the tent was up, it started raining again, and, you know, moving stuff from the car and the trailer into the tent with rain coming down. You know, it was quite a logistical situation. And we got it done. The boys stood tall and they really helped out. And the next day, well, for the rest of the holiday, it was just the best weather you could imagine. So we got so lucky. We met up with beautiful friends up north. Just a shout out to Barbara and Nick and Lehigh. We had probably the best day with them, and we spent it in paradise as well. I won't say the name of the town just because I'm going to move there as soon as I can. And, you know, I don't want to ruin the town's reputation, but the place is beautiful. And
that's awesome.
And we made a friend. I'll give her a shout out. Her name is Tara. She's lovely. And she was in the site next to us. We met her for a whole of 15 minutes, but we got her number and I recommended a certain surfing spot to her, and she had a fantastic day. I was so anxious after that. I was thinking, oh no, what if I've given her bad information? What if the surf's terrible there? But it turns out she loved it as much as we did. So Tara, I hope you had an awesome surf, and I hope you've had plenty of awesome surfs since. Then we came down and stayed at a friend's holiday place, and they generously let us use it for free down in the Pacific Palms region. And we just swam and snorkeled, and it was just so much fun. So it was really hard to come back to this.
That's you did mention there that it's like I felt like I was on holiday with you then, but you did mention then that it was like you're going to move there at some point.
Yeah, look, that's not a joke.
Just hurry that up. Just get it done. Because there's no coming home then. When that's home, like, you know, that's a thought, you know, like living in a holiday destination. Like, there's a lot of people that I know that are lucky enough to have done that. It would have its, I think it would have its, have its pros and cons like everything. But yeah, realistically, imagine living there. Like, I mean, we've all been, like, I don't know the place you're talking about off the top of my head, but we've all been to those places where we just find our spot, and it's where we want to be. It'd be nice just to be there all the time.
I know, and it's so hard to find something that ticks all the boxes, and this place really
Mm.
does. It's funny, I was thinking,
Yep.
yeah, it's close to friends. My friends are an hour and 2 hours away from that place. But
Yeah.
when you're that far up north, you're out of the city, 2 hours and 1 hour
Yeah.
is close. It's funny
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
things change,
Oh,
isn't it?
yeah. And I mean, look, when you think about driving across Sydney, like if you were going from, Penrith to the city, that's an hour,
Yeah,
best part. Um, I'd rather do that drive from, along a nice highway or along a beach
yeah,
or along a no traffic, sitting on 100 kilometers an hour rather than sitting in bumper to bumper traffic. So yeah, look, it's a lot. It's when you go on holidays, you get this taste of this lifestyle that you're like, can we
mm,
sustain this for the time? You obviously still have to, if you move there early before retirement, you you do have to work, and so that logistically you have to look at that. So you're still getting the stresses of your day or whatever happens. You still got to, if you still, like I said, if you move there early with the kids, you got to send them to school still. So all that stuff that you're having happen here in Sydney or at home is going to happen in that location. But it's just, you just wonder if the lack of stress somewhere else helps those other sort of things. So yeah, I don't know. It's interesting thought. Like, what is it, the trigger? Because I mean, you think about, like, I enjoy where I live. Like, I enjoy my house. I enjoy the location. I'm lucky enough to be in that situation. So all the stresses that happen to me throughout the days and the weeks and so on. So that, that happens to everybody. But would a different location, would I lose that? You know what I mean? Like, because I'm happy where I am.
yeah,
So it's just changing. It's coming back from that oasis, I guess, of the holiday
yeah,
that is the hangover part of it, I think.
yeah. The come down's hard, and in the performing arts, they call it the post-production blues. Everyone
Mm,
gets it after you've got, this massive thing that you've all worked on together. It's been this great effort, and then you're just
yep.
back to the grind. And I think that's what this
Yep.
episode's really about. It's about the grind, isn't it? I mean, it's great to come back to
Yep.
Sydney. I love where we live. I'm really
Mm,
lucky. We've kind of continued our holiday a little bit because we've got a pool in our complex. So we've been swimming virtually
yep.
every day since anyway. And, it's something that the
Yep.
boys just adore doing. They've improved so much.
Mm,
So yeah, we've got a good life here, but I suppose it's just that contrast with what else is
mm,
out there. In the terms
yep.
of an actor, for example, they've got a great life outside of acting if they're, a big star or whatever, but I'm sure they get the blues too because they're no longer on set with, all this magic going on. And,
Mm,
with what we were doing up there, it was just such a healthy lifestyle as well. And that's what I really loved about it. It was just fresh
yep.
air out all the time and just seeing beautiful things. And I suppose just the holiday mindset is just
Yep.
different. There's no responsibility essentially other than remembering to buy sunscreen because, that stuff's
Yeah.
really expensive.
I
Jeez.
know, right? Yeah.
But other than
I
that,
have
there's
to
not a
go
lot of
shopping.
responsibility.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's true. You're not, and that, I guess that's part of the point that, like, it's the responsibility that comes back on you when you return from these holidays. That you're right. I think it's that post blues, where you've had these moments, and then it's like you're still looking at the same people that you had those moments with, but you're in a different setting, and you've got different responsibilities and duties and things like that. So it's part of life. It's, holidays and breaks away are a great part of life, but yeah, you just got to manage that manage that come down.
Yeah. So how do we make this grind sustainable? I suppose that's the key, isn't it? That you've got a
Yeah,
life worth coming back to that you want to be in,
yeah,
essentially. And I
yeah.
love Sydney. My family's all here, so except for my sister. But we're pretty lucky. We've got a good life here, and I guess that's the key for everyone to try to build a sustainable life and be part of a community.
Mm. Well, it's the place where, hopefully, everyone's sort of happy where they are. I mean, I'm not being naive and understanding that everyone's completely happy with their situation, but for me and you and other people that we know, it's a place that we've built and a place that we've, is filled with all the memories and all that sort of stuff that we've had so far, that, you've got to take that into consideration. You're returning to a good situation. If you're in this spot that, you've chosen to be, and you've, done whatever you need to do to your house, and you've got it all sorted, and it's perfect for your family, and you're really happy, coming back shouldn't be you shouldn't have that sort of, I guess, depression that you are coming back. I think it's just a momentary thing that happens, because, like you said, on holidays it's not realistic, really.
No, it's a fantasy world.
You can't sustain that for the 52 weeks. I mean, if you're lucky enough to be able to do that, and I think that's a very rare situation that someone's lucky enough to be able to do that, because you need money, and you need responsibility, and you need to buy things and do things that you wouldn't necessarily do unless you had to, So, I think holidays, the going on the holidays is great, but sustaining that life would be impossible. I'm going to say not possible.
Yeah.
And realistically, in the way I see it anyway.
So we need to look at the pillars of a successful, sustainable life at home. And I truly believe that it's possible for everybody to attain. But I also think that we are kind of the lucky few, Jarad. There's a lot of people in situations where they're not happy for whatever reason, whether it's personal, financial, career-wise, whatever it is. So the last thing I want to do is go, so let's just come back home and be grateful for what we've got. Look, it can be hard.
Totally.
I'm in a great situation with my family, so I'm really lucky there. Now, I was just reading some news this morning, some salacious gossip from the Super League in the UK, where a football player was caught in a compromising situation, and it's essentially torn his family apart. And wow, that's through no fault of the family.
No.
And I can only imagine what the children are going through. And, I'm not here to judge anybody or anything like that, but, I'm lucky that I'm not in that situation. That's for sure. That, my family life is paradise. Now, I can imagine that there's so many people out there who don't have that. I've done a lot of reading about, certain areas of Australia where there's just such endemic problems, systemic problems, just at that family level. Forget about the wider economy, forget about the high unemployment and drug use and all that. I'm just talking purely in the family home. There are so many people out there who have a less than ideal situation. So it's definitely, Jarad and I aren't here going, oh, wow, let's all be happy with what we've got. It can be so hard. And I just want to acknowledge the struggle that people go through to have even that part of their, let's just say there's a needs pyramid, family's got to be right, pretty much the foundation. If you don't have that, well, geez, it's tough, isn't it, Jarad?
It's hard to build on. It's definitely not impossible to build on, but it's a harder road. And look, you said a lot there, and I can only really agree with the fact that I sort of touched on it too, that the fact that we're lucky, we're happy where we come to, and we've said this over our course of episodes, we understand that, but that's the beauty of it. Everyone's different. Everyone's going through their own processes. So, if we can have a chat, and put out, just have a chat about this. Like, if something resonates with somebody and helps them through those struggles, look, that's I'm in a happy place. That makes me happy, and we're not all the same. We're not all, lemmings that live the same life. We all have our different struggles. We all get up at different times of the day and go to work at different times of the day, or don't go to work, or whatever sustains you. that's the beauty of it. We're all different, and but we're all survivors. You know, we've all had our ups and downs, some more than others. But you know, like if you're out there struggling to keep your head above water, just, you know, one step at a time is the only thing I can say. If you can just get that, you know, head above water, then the head, then the face, then the neck, then the shoulders, you know, things will start to be easier. So hopefully we in a little way we can help.
Yeah, I hope so too. And that's a really good analogy, Jared. I was swimming the other day and my shoulders were burning, right?
Yeah.
And I thought, if I were caught in a rip, how much will would I have to keep going? Now, for me, it's about thinking about my family, and I'd do everything in my power. I'd float on my back for as long as I'd need to rest my shoulders so that I could, you know, whether I float out to New Zealand and then I've got to swim back from there, I don't know. But I would do everything I can. And my fear is that some people just wouldn't have that will. They'd be like, oh, take me now. And for some people, of course, in the real physical situation, it would be impossible to adjust anyway. You really would be that spent that you couldn't swim. And, you know, we've seen there's been a whole spate of drownings here in New South Wales alone. But I've had to deal with situations with people who may feel that there isn't a lot to live for. And it can be hard, that existential crisis. It can be hard to actually tell someone what they've got to live for. And again, you look at these people in these regional areas, or not necessarily even there, but if someone's in a hopeless situation or what they feel is hopeless, how do you tell them, look, just keep going, life gets better? It's really difficult to see the light at the end of the tunnel sometimes.
Yeah, and then you throw in that every situation is different and everyone reacts differently. So, you know, you might be able to say to somebody, everything's going to be okay. You know, get yourself in this position, and, you know, this is very broad, obviously, but get yourself in this position, and then hopefully, you know, if you do this and do that, you may, but everyone's different, right? You may come out of it, but then the next situation, as soon as you say those words, they're angry at you because you come off as being, you know, a know-it-all, or trying to, you know, trying to make light of their situation. And so I guess for me, it's not getting too involved, but, you know, if you have a situation where you're in contact with somebody that needs help, offer that help, first of all. But sometimes that help isn't always accepted. So I look at it like you need to be there, but not there. Be there from arm's length. The one thing that you need to let you know, if it's a friend going through this or a colleague or somebody, let them know that you're there, and then that you can and are willing to help them through this situation. But don't expect always expect somebody to go, yep, help me, this is what I need you to do. Like, so I think the best you can do is just be available to them.
Look, I want to give a specific example, Jared, of this kind of situation that we're dealing with. So I'm friends with a guy who's from India, and he's been raised as a Muslim. His parents forced him to go to Saudi Arabia for a pilgrimage. He's told me, you know, he's an atheist. He doesn't believe in any of this, but he said if he came out as an atheist, he said my life would be over.
Yep.
Anyway, I could imagine him going on a holiday like that I just went on, and then going back to his situation. You know, how do I tell him, oh, it'll be okay, you know, after tasting this sort of level of freedom, and then going back to that? And he said to me, you know, in India, life is terrible unless you're rich, and he's not rich. So it's really hard to help a guy in that situation. I mean, I can't financially anyway, but, you know, I've told him I'm there for him. I'm always there for a chat. But he's a lovely guy, and it's just really sad that, you know, I can imagine there are billions of people, like literally billions, in his situation. And wow, you know, what a privileged existence we have over here. And I know we talked about the holiday hangover and everything, but I guess to me, this topic comes down to, what are you going back to after the holiday? And, that's the reason why you feel like you need to go on holiday in the first place. But it's kind of, it's very tough for a lot of people to come back to their lives, isn't it?
Yeah, look, it is. And that's essentially part of the hangover. We sit here and say, oh, we've got a hangover, a holiday hangover, and, oh, I've got to take the kids to school and I've got to go to work and but ultimately we're in a good situation, right? We can sit here and have our first world problems, but realistically,
yeah, totally.
it's a momentary situation of like, oh man, I wish I was still swimming at that beach. But yeah, in reality, life goes on. But yeah, you're right. I mean, people don't ever get the opportunity to go on that holiday. So,
No.
Our lucky existence is, I don't forget that. I understand that. And what seems like a problem sometimes when you take a step back usually isn't that bad. It's more of a little bump in the road, or like I said, a momentary feeling, momentary sort of day where you're just like, oh, I'm a bit flat or whatever. But, it's not it doesn't compare sometimes to, what people are going through. But, you said there that you said, going back to what you said about that situation, that the person in India, like you can't offer them this or you can't fix their problems. But I think you're not giving yourself enough credit. You are actually giving them a bit of an out there by talking to them.
Yeah.
You're giving them an ear, like you can't solve everything. And it's very sad if you really break it down, like you wish you could, but if that one person, you've changed that guy's day for, or given him a half an hour worth of solace or whatever, solace is the wrong word, but give him half an hour of that, a break from the situation, I think you're doing more than you think. So that goes
Solace
back
was
to
the right
being
word,
there.
by the way, Jarad.
Was it? Thank you. I'm terrible sometimes with those. These words just come to my head and I use them and I go, oh, I don't know if that's correct. But you're giving him that space, I guess, to to unwind and vent or whatever he needs to do. And I think don't underestimate what that does to somebody in a situation where they might feel hopeless or they feel they're in a hopeless situation, like that plays a big part. That's one of those little steps I was talking about. Your head's underwater, you take that one step and then your eyes are out of the water. You take the next step, your mouth's out of the water, and all of a sudden your shoulders are out. So I think you're just a step, for this guy's, not going to say recovery, but moving forward in his situation.
Yeah, look, it's easier for us. We've got actual steps we can take here in Australia if we want to improve our lives. Some people around the world, I don't know if there is any hope. And that's so hard for me to even admit.
From the distance we sit at and from the situation we are, there's a lot of situations that I would say that there isn't any hope. But those people, who are going through these, they'd still have fight because they're still here. So
there's people in Australia who would wake up in my situation and go, oh my goodness, what is this mess? So whereas I think, I feel like I've made it, for the first time in my life. I'm like, wow, I've got all my ducks in a row other than career. In my work situation, everything is perfect. I've got the best family. I've got awesome friends. I've got meaningful activities. And I guess that's what I need to do now that I'm back from holidays. I need to be proactive and start lining up all the good stuff that kind of make you feel like you're on holiday. So the first thing I've got to do is contact my mate Dave, who I spar with, get physical again, start feeling active, catch up with my parents on the weekend. And of course, this, Jarad, catching up with you and connecting with our audience. So we've hit the end of our session here and hopefully it goes well on camera. If it doesn't work, guys, we'll do it in future. But we'd love to connect with you physically so you can at least see what we look like these days. A lot of people who listen to this show are our old school friends or people that we met many years ago. And you're probably like, what did that guy even look like? Well, this is it. You're not missing out on
not what you're seeing now. It's I'm a lot more grayer and a lot less hair up here. But,
remember the guy from back in high school? I looked a lot better then. I've aged terribly. But thank you again for joining us, everybody. It's been great reconnecting with you, Jarad. It's been a while. And
Yeah.
now that I'm back from holidays, now that, well, you're not going anywhere, I assume. So let's get back on
We should
our
keep
usual
this rolling.
schedule of one a week. And thank you so much, everybody, for joining the Two Gentlemen. Please like, subscribe, follow on whatever socials you can. We're out there. We really would love to connect with more people and try to spread good vibes, because life can be tough. Life can be lonely, and quite often it's the loudest, most insane voices that are heard, not the quiet, gentle, manly voices. So, Jarad, thanks again.
Thank you, mate. Take it easy.